Hello, this is Monique McDonald. And if you're looking for more one-on-one help with your voice and how to make it magnetic, I want to invite you to check out my coaching packages at themagneticvoice.com. Then click Transform with Monique and book a complimentary connection call. Let's see if we can find a package for you that will fit all of your needs. I'm so grateful for your listening to the Magnetic Voice podcast, and I can't wait to meet you and continue the conversation. Take care. See you soon.
Welcome to The Magnetic Voice, here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel, a show where speakers and singers learn how to be more magnetic and align their voices to the divine within. Today, episode 84, The Season of Change. And now your host, Monique McDonald.
Hello, and welcome to the Magnetic Voice podcast. My name is Monique McDonald, and I am here with the lovely Shannon Kropf. Hey, Shannon.
Hi, Monique. Great to see you.
Lovely to see you as well. We are so excited to be here today with all of you. And today's episode is about the season of change.
Oh, good. It's just one season. Glad to hear that. Maybe that's not exactly what you meant by that.
No, that's not exactly what I meant. But it does seem to be a time right now in the world where everything is changing.
Yes.
Everyone I speak to seems to be going through some sort of transition or change.
Absolutely.
And of course, we are moving into spring. So even the earth is in transition and change. I know we spoke yesterday together, Shannon, and I said my mantra, change is good, change is good, change is good, because sometimes it doesn't always feel that way.
I have to rat you out and say, you didn't look very confident when you were saying it.
Yeah, it's so true. Change brings up uncertainty.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're uncertain about the future. It can bring up some anxiety or fear. It absolutely disrupts our comfort zone.
Yes. Hello. And isn't it interesting that pretty much universally, especially if the change isn't necessarily something that we expected or were prepared for, the fear pops up, our lizard brain pops up much more quickly than like our higher selves and our excitement and hope for whatever this means, even though time and time again, the universe has proved that what change brings is something better.
Or at least different.
At least different.
It's not always better.
Yeah.
But as we know, how we interpret it, how we frame it for ourselves in our mind, the meaning that we make of it is what's the most important.
Right.
We
Absolutely.
are creatures of habit. We like our patterns and our habits, and it feels uncomfortable to step into new ways of thinking and doing things.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it brings up sometimes some resistance. I don't know about you.
Of course.
And we can tend to dig in our heels. And I know that for me, I in one of my relationships, I knew it was time to go, but I just didn't want to go. I wanted to stay and make it work. And I wanted to, to sort of prove to myself that I could be adaptive and
Right.
handle whatever was going on.
Right. Because that's a sign of strength and character and all that business, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And so because I resisted the change when it inevitably showed up and came, it was not pretty. It was bad. And had, I think, a much stronger effect of loss and grief, which is what happens when we resist change. Inevitably the change is going to come. I think that is, the bottom line of.
That's what Sam Cooke told us.
That's right. That's right. And if we're alive, we are changing and growing. But sometimes the process of change can trigger grief.
Oh, absolutely.
And feelings of loss. And I think that we don't expect that. I think that, right? I think we expect grief, that specific word, only when we've lost someone or a death has happened. We're not used to naming the feeling at the moment of change, grief. But it's grief for who you were.
And for who you thought you were going to be.
Right.
Based on that. Like,
that's right.
When there's a vector change in your vector, I did not say that well, but when there's a change in where you thought you were going, you can grieve for the future you thought you were going to have, right?
That's right. That's right. And it is a process to really truly let go of roles or identities.
Right.
When I was singing full time and my life changed and I was no longer doing that, I had a real moment of, okay, well, who am I if I'm not singing full time?
Right.
And we show up and experience life through our identities and our roles. Mother, wife, entrepreneur, whatever the role is, artist, singer, whatever the role is. And we define ourselves by these roles.
Sure.
And what I know to be true is that it literally is an identity, but it is not us.
Right.
We are human beings having a spiritual adventure. Some would say we're spiritual beings having a human adventure.
Right.
And what that means is whatever role we are playing, whatever identity we are using to define ourselves, sometimes life comes along and snatches that away so that we get to know who we truly are and whose we truly are.
Right.
So that we get to see that we are not our work or our family, or that, yes, that is part of who we are, but who we truly are beings on an adventure, beings experiencing life. And if we are living, we are changing. I'm just, I just was looking in the mirror when I was getting ready for this appointment, and I looked at my face and I thought, I had this moment of, wait, who's that?
Yeah.
I know that sounds strange. I don't know if that's ever happened to anyone listening before, but I was experiencing myself in the mirror, and I was seeing all the change in my face since the last time I looked, and it made me think about the fact that literally we are changing every single day.
Right.
Our bodies are changing, our faces are changing. We are creatures of change, and if we're not changing, it means we have flatlined.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So now we've talked about the not so nice parts of change or the parts that are disruptive and disturbing. So now let's talk about the benefits.
That sounds great.
So one of the biggest benefits of change is through self-discovery and learning and redefining ourselves. It helps us grow. It's part of the growth and personal growth. So you start to realize that once you've gone through a transition or change, you are different. And so now the experience of who you are is changed. And I think I can tell you, and we can talk about this, when my mom passed away, it was really hard for me to move past it because I had no idea who I was
Wow.
without her.
Right.
I mean, she was my mother.
Right.
So, so everything I knew myself to be, all the things that brought me comfort, the things that I understood as my strengths, they were all changing.
Right.
And so I literally had to figure out, okay, well, who is this person, this motherless child, if you will? And I had to develop some new skills. I had to look at myself from a different perspective. I was certainly out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And the person that always brought me comfort was not there in the way that I had always experienced her. I've come to know that she's always there.
Right.
And she's part of me now. So these big changes that come through our life experiences, they make us have to become innovative and creative.
Right. Right.
Because we have to be willing to experiment and think outside the box to find new ways of being, new ways of experiencing ourselves. So whenever life brings us contrast or change, what I believe is that it's there to propel us into a new way of being, a new way of creating our lives, a new way of being adaptable, a new way of experiencing our flexibility, our being adaptive, our resilience.
Yeah.
And I used to experience myself as a person who could adapt very easily and quickly. Right. That was actually one of my strengths. And I notice as I've gotten older, that's
somehow we're a little less elastic.
It's a little less elastic. How about you? What about you?
Absolutely.
Do you feel
Yeah.
that way too?
Oh my God. I'm just, I was just thinking the past couple of days about what was I like when I was 20,
Right.
and I didn't realize, I mean, we all have had these thoughts of like, God, if I had known then what I know now, just to have that kind of boundless energy and feel like every opportunity was mine for the taking, and that I have the confidence to feel like I am king of the world, all that beautiful stuff that came even in the midst of trauma and conflict and all of that. There was a youthful resiliency that I seem to have lost track of somewhere along the way.
Well, I totally get it. And I think it's also when you have less years behind you, it feels like you have less to lose.
Absolutely.
The
Yeah.
more years you have behind you, the more you want to stay safe.
Yes.
And that is a function of the mind, right? That is coming from a place of, dare I say, scarcity. Whereas when we're younger, we're just like, I want to experience this and I want to
Right.
experience this. And
Yes.
because we're excited to experience new things
Right.
because we don't have anything to lose. And so in this season of change, I want to invite us all to know that there's still nothing to lose. And safety, although it feels really nice and comfortable, it's never there for long.
Right.
Meaning outside safety.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
There's an inner safety when you have a spiritual practice, when you are in communication with the divine, when you are always in touch with your inner world. That's where true safety lies. I know that that's one of the things I work with my clients about all the time is that one of the things that they're really afraid of is, what are people going to say or think about
Right.
me?
Right.
And that makes them feel unsafe. And so
Sure.
all their life experiences in the past where they were not taken care of or loved up or made to feel safe show up.
Right.
And so when we are in times of change, it's the time to really go within. It's like a built-in mechanism for us to reach inward to our spirituality, to our connection with the divine, so that becomes our guide again. Because sometimes when we're in our habits and doing the things that we do over and over and over again, that is a level of safety, but we can often lose touch with the divine in those moments. And it becomes kind of rote. It's like something we check out off of our to-do list.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Right? And when we are in these times of change, all of a sudden that fear, that grief, that loss, that anxiety comes up. And so then we reach back in. So I am in a place of change. We all are
Really?
in a place
Yes.
of change
Yes.
here at the Magnetic Voice podcast.
Yes.
Our dear friend and
mentor. Cynthia Alice Anderson and I had the most amazing relationship because I was her voice coach and she was my spiritual mentor.
Yeah.
I went to her church. She was my minister for quite some time whenever I was in Orlando. And I'll never forget, she got so excited because she had her own podcast channel. And she said, Monique, you have to come and be a guest. And we drove to your house.
I remember very well.
To record the podcast. And I remember as I was driving over there, I didn't know anything about a podcast. I really didn't. And I wondered to myself, I wonder what it would be like to have a podcast. And little did I know that meeting and that guest appearance on a podcast would lead to 84 episodes of the Magnetic Voice podcast on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel.
Yes.
And I am so grateful for all the years that we have been here.
Absolutely.
So grateful for Cynthia Alice to plant that seed and invite me to be on her podcast. And because I was terrified and didn't know anything about podcasting, I asked you, Shannon, if you would partner with me on this journey. And you said yes.
Yes.
And it has been a great ride.
It has, and you haven't quite spilled the beans about me just yet, but I'll go ahead and say that as you move forward into the rest of your podcasting journey, it's let me back up, start from the beginning. It was so exciting that time, that, oh, this is a brand new thing. And then, oh, what's it like? And what are we going to do? And, all that type of thing. And then kind of a season of loss for me, really. And
that's right.
And we processed a lot of that right here, on the air with our listeners. And I'm also in a season of change and things that I'm becoming like a music publisher alongside Dave. I never saw that coming. It's amazing. And I find myself, Dave and I have been a power couple in supporting other people for a very, very long time. And over since about April of 2022, we've decided to team up and work for ourselves. And the results of that have been fantastic and magnificent. And I find myself less and less able to support others as we've, for the first time, decided to support ourselves, right?
Right.
So all of that to say, it's just a natural time for me to say adieu to the magnetic voice. And it's that thing. It's sad, but it's also us moving onward, both of us.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I will certainly miss chatting with you.
Yes.
I mean, chatting with you publicly so everybody can hear. We're always going to chat, right?
Forevermore. As Dave, your husband, my friend and producer, coined the term, we are quantum sisters.
Yes.
And we will always be chatting, just not in public anymore.
Absolutely. So listen, I got to tell you, I'm super excited for you to continue on this journey. I think that all of this is happening in divine time, even though all those things we just said, it brings up grief and loss and ponderment and all of those things. It's time for you to go to the next level in what you have to say about people's authentic human voice and what it can accomplish in the world.
That's right. And Cynthia Alice is going to be doing her podcast in a new way. And so I feel like it's this wonderful moving towards what is next. For us, we are going to be doing the Magnetic Voice podcast on, well, you'll always be able to find it on my website, themagneticvoice.com.
Yep.
And all your favorite podcast channels. You'll be able to find us. You'll just have to look up the Magnetic Voice podcast and you'll find us.
That's right.
And I had my first experience solo in our last podcast.
This whole thing was weird, right?
Like 84 podcasts, and I was too chicken to do it by myself. So Shannon has been with me this whole time.
Kicked you right out of that nest.
It's so funny, isn't it? It just
it is.
I did my first solo podcast last time, and Dave and I had a conversation, and as is usually the case, when the universe sets you up for success, it's amazing how things line up. And
crazy. Yeah.
It is, right? It's so beautiful. So I got to have a practice run here in my comfort zone.
Right. Before you got kicked right out of it.
That's right. And so we're going to be taking this podcast out into the world, out into the universe.
Yes.
And my mission is to empower 100,000 voices with authenticity and truth and power, and to help people understand their own magnificence. So whenever they're given an opportunity to speak, they remember who they are and speak from that divine place within all of us. So I want to thank you, my quantum sister.
Yes, ma'am.
For this wonderful ride.
Absolutely.
And for being the best partner I could have dreamed of.
Yes, ma'am. It's been such fun and so wonderful just to sit and chat things out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it really has. And I want to thank Cynthia Alice Anderson for her vision and her joy and her constantly moving forward into what's next. I love you, Cynthia Alice, and it's been an amazing experience to be part of your channel. And I send you all my love. And to all of you listening, I hope you'll find me in my next adventure. And I look forward to seeing and hearing and knowing you as our journey continues. Thank you. All right, we are about to go into meditation. And I just want to let everyone know that my beautiful Shannon Kropf will continue to accompany me on the piano for these meditations as we move forward. So, as we take a deep breath together and open our hearts and open our minds and breathe into the part of us that is the most sacred. With every breath, we breathe into the beauty of the truth of who we are. We breathe into the core of our being. As we inhale and exhale today, we fully connect to the divine. We understand in a new way, as above, so below. As we sit here breathing together, we become aware of divine light and love, the pure energy of Source itself, breathing with us, pouring itself in and through us. And as we breathe and know this divine connection that is here for us every time we inhale and exhale, we remember that whatever is going on in the world outside of us, no matter how the world is changing, no matter how our personal lives are changing, no matter what goes on outside of us, this core connection is always there. As we breathe together and know that not only are we connected to the divine, we are connected to each other. And even though I can't see you or hear you, we are breathing together. And I feel that connection. And I'm sure you do too. So as we move into new ways of being, as our life unfolds in front of us through change, we know together that that is life. That's what we are here for, to experience new things, to go back to the beginning, beginner's mind, doing things out of the ordinary, doing things that are unprecedented, opening to new experiences, letting ourselves be unsure, letting ourselves trust that change is good, that new means new experiences, a new chance to find out who we truly are and whose we truly are. Because as we move forward and grow and expand into the beings that we were put here on the planet to be, as we move and expand into what is mine to do next, we understand together today that the world needs us. So often we're overwhelmed by all the contrast, all the difficulty and challenge and war and all the ways that the world seems to be going out of control, and we want others to do something about it. but it is ours to do. Right here in our world, it is ours to connect to the divine and speak up and share ourselves with each other and connect with each other and open our hearts to one another. Speak and listen. Listen and speak. Because although the outer circumstances might be different, we all are growing, expanding, and changing. And we are in this together. Wherever you are today, know that I am with you, cheering for you, and knowing who you truly are. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your courage. Blessings to you. And so it is.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Magnetic Voice here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. This channel is made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Magnetic Voice is copyright 2022 Monique McDonald, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Kropf and used with permission. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.
Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The SoulWorks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. SoulWorks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the SoulWorks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.